there's a fine line between mixing and mastering, especially in the ending stages of the mixing process. Many people, many mix engineers are not 100% happy with their mix, but they still send it out for mastering, thinking that that's going to solve the problem and they're suddenly going to like it. What do you think about that approach?
Well, I always tell people, mix the music like you don't need us. There's always going to be something that we will do. This is what we do. We know the levels, we know the deliverables, we know all the formats. This is just our level of expertise. So there's always room to take it from point A to point B. There's always a place to bring the music so that I can cross the finish line. Even if we don't do anything to it, just leveling perhaps. Bring it to the place where you feel like it needs nothing, and we'll take it from there and decide what it needs, what types of levels to print, that sort of thing. So that's just a broad stroke kind of philosophical approach. Just, don't leave it for us to fix. Don't leave off a process so that we can replicate it. Do what you can do. But I know you have thoughts on people being unhappy with mixes, and we talk in panels a lot about that. And
yeah.
I love the way Ruben articulates that.
So if somebody's bringing you something and they're not quite happy with something, and they're trying to hopefully find that final place where whatever they're not happy with is going to get resolved in mastering, it certainly can be the case. A lot of times it is in fact the case where we can take it to that place where all those things are fixed in our process. But oftentimes, even though we can bring that, it would be better if those things are addressed before they come to us. And sometimes mixing engineers and artists and producers rely on us for that. In other words, if they send something in and they say, hey, for some reason there's something that's just not quite right with this, we don't even know what it is, we've kind of looked at this thing from all different angles, we've listened to this in a whole bunch of different environments, and we still can't figure out why this isn't working. And sometimes, giving it to somebody that is trusted to be objective, that really knows how things feel best in their best way when they're balanced, a mastering engineer can certainly guide and say, hey, before you come to us, or we do our process, we'll size it up and just do this, that, and the other, and you'll have something better from us in the end. So that's a big part of this process too. And a good mastering engineer will know when to flag something and when to say, actually, it's just fine the way it is. So I find that if something creates a scenario where we are working hard to fix something, in other words, maybe a snare is just too loud, and we have to get into a whole bunch of compression to tuck that in, you're kind of introducing some compromise, right? In other words, you do something much different if that snare was just a dB lower, or sometimes just even less than that. So if we're in that type of scenario and we're doing something and it's feeling like we're having to force something to get something to work, we'll print it, we'll send it to the client and say, hey, this is what I was able to do with what you presented, but if you send a snare down, maybe more than one option, maybe a half dB and a dB and a dB and a half, just print all three, send them over, we'll size it up, we'll figure out the best one to work from, and then we'll send them that second version. They'll really be pleased because we don't have to work our process so hard to correct something, but we will use our processes the way they're really supposed to be used to really just enhance and get the most out of the mix, a really good mix. And you A/B those two final results, you'll find that the second one's probably worlds better because you're getting the most out of our process. So these are the types of things that can occur and be worked through in the process.
No surgical maneuvers. It's best when we make a vibe play so it can blossom and bloom and have size and depth of field and that kind of thing.